Nice.
Beautiful.
Participant, Lance, make host.
The old switcheroo.
There you go.
Okay, sweet. So yeah, from the top, again, going over some door knocking for now, the recording that just started. So first thing I wanted to go over, oops, there we go, let me get this out of the way. Still able to see everything?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So first thing I wanted to go over was really just the differences in pay. When I had first started door knocking, I did it because I wanted more money. I'm sure Gary had mentioned that, anything that is self-generated, you get paid more on the per kilowatt commission. So the first 5 months with the company, I was doing pretty much all door knocking. And then I started taking leads. It's probably going to be more of a hybrid situation out there. So it's a unique, situation you guys are in. However, definitely don't forget about the door knocking aspect. It's a very quick way to make more money, and to show it as, some living proof here. If you look at just 60 sales, which is very, very obtainable. My first full year in Blue Raven, I did 80. So, it's 5 sales per month. Under Gary's leadership, you guys should have absolutely no problem hitting this. Gary, I'm sure he shared some of his numbers. He's had some pretty crazy months. I think 22 in February, was it? So this was, oops, there we go. So this was this is a slide I took off of Houston. I realized it's still saying Houston, but the average kilowatt I did update for your guys' office is 7.8 through the bookings that Gary has done so far. So if we did just leads, if we took the 60 sales from leads, then, I want to account for the residual as well. So when I talked about pay previously, obviously that's a large portion of why, this opportunity is very intriguing. So from 60 leads, as it accumulates 5 each month, that's going to equal 28,000 in residual. However, it's going to also, accumulate some commissions. So that total would be $74,800. Good money. Don't get me wrong. Good money for your first year. And as your residual grows, it will continue to build and build and build and, accumulate over each year. However, if I take those same 60 sales and now I choose to self-generate them, that same $74,000, again, accounting for the same amount in residual, is now $121,600. That goes from, it's good money to that's really good money. Now, if we were, because I know realistically, we're probably not going to go out there and just self-gen when there's leads there. He'll probably do a leads test and things with you to make sure you're on board or you're up to date with, how to pitch and make sure overcoming objections, and just doing a lot of shadows with Gary. But let's say you did a hybrid model. You did 30 self-gen, 30 from leads. That will put you right just south of the $100,000 mark, which is for your first year, very good money. Now, again, everything continues to grow because that following year, you're already starting with $6,000 a month in residual alone. That was something that really brought me over to this industry. As we kind of covered previously, I've done a lot of different jobs, and every single year it was just starting over. So made a bunch of money, and then January 1st, I'm like, wow, I got to go do it again. Instead, you're really building a career. You're building yourself a unique situation where, you never want to, take your foot off the gas, but, just by having a residual behind you, it's kind of setting you up for retirement at a very, early stage. So moving on from that, there's 3 steps that I really wanted to go over with door knocking. One is the preparation. A lot of it is actually before you even go out on the doors. People think I just got to go out there and start knocking doors. Nope, you've already failed yourself. So I would say preparation is probably the most important aspect. The second part is the pitch. Of course, you're not going to get any leads if you don't know the pitch. So we're going to go over a couple different pitches, a couple different approaches. And of course, I'm going to share all this with you guys as well, so you guys can double check it. And then lastly, just following up and tracking your leads. So there's going to be a couple apps that I ask for you guys to download, and I'm going to show you guys how to help navigate them. And one is just, more so for the following up. And then the second one is more for the preparation. So moving into that, step 1, preparation. We want you to be able to choose an area strategically. It's not like, hey, I'm going to go to the street next door and just start knocking. Realistically, the closer to home you are, the more likely you are to not be knocking. I learned that at a young age. I had to get out there like 45 minutes, get away from my house, and I'm like, cool, I'm out here working. But, and I'm going to go over these stages or each of these steps a little bit more in depth in a second, but just to kind of run through them quick. The first app is downloading Zillow. It's really, really helpful to research neighborhoods and kind of choose which one is more up your guys' alley. Find a general vicinity first, figure out, okay, cool, I want to be, within this area, I've had luck, I might have an install. And then you want to filter out into some of the sold homes, because it'll give you some recent home value. And it's because we want to stay away from some areas that might be a little bit on the lower value side. It tends to be a lot of renters or, just people who might not pass credit, which is very important in this industry. Some of the people who are super on board, you're like, okay, cool, got a sale. And then you go to the credit, fails. So we want to set ourselves up for the most success that we can. Then we're going to draw a region in the map, use a sidebar. And I think at this point, we should just get into how to do it. So these slides, again, it's going to outline everything, but I'd rather give you guys kind of a real-time view at it. So I'm going to share my screen here again. Just let me know if you guys are able to see the Zillow once I pull it up. It's being a little bit tricky. All right, should be able to see it now. Are you guys good? Yep,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if I just looked at St. Cloud, and you click, and this is straight off Zillow, the app on your phone is a little bit different. That's what I prefer to use, just because you can be out there, you can kind of just zoom in on things. Or if you got an iPad, that's like my bread and butter. That's what I've done a lot of research on. So, right off the bat, again, you guys are going to go with the sold here. For whatever reason, it is still loading. Oh, probably because there's a lot of houses. So you can see there's boundaries. So right now it's just pretty much all of St. Cloud. If I remove the boundary, then it becomes anywhere in this entire area. So what I first do is I draw an area that I want to zoom in on. So if I wanted to do like, St. Joseph, or if you wanted to go more towards St. Cloud, you can kind of choose wherever you'd like to go. But first, click this draw button. And then now it's going to come up with a cursor, and I can go with a little bit smaller of an area. So it'll automatically just give you a shape, and then you apply it. It's moving slow today. So then from there, it's going to sift out all of the surrounding, and I can zoom in on this specific area. So the reason I like doing that is looking at a huge map, it's a little bit more intense. There's a lot going on. So, this is probably a little bit low in the lower 200s. I'd probably want to find something closer to like, upper 2s to 3s. So I'd say this is maybe a bit better of a stretch to look at. But, again, house value, it shifts kind of all over the place. So, you don't want it to be, oh, this is total trash neighborhood, I can't knock this because it is a house, a certain value, because, you might have an install right down the street. So take advantage of, as much as you can. If you have a hot lead and you're working with someone, make sure to knock that neighborhood and say, hey, we're working with Joe down the street. That's kind of why we're out here. We'd like to at least check in with you on the net metering program. So from there, you could see that you could pull up the actual homes, and on the side, you can scroll through. So you can get an idea, okay, are these older homes, are these newer homes? And you're going to kind of find a preference. Like when I was in pest control, I liked some of the newer homes. It was newer homeowners, and they were excited about the project. They're generally the ones who are eager to make upgrades to the house, renovations, whatever it may be. Whereas some of the older homes, you might find some of the older population, which they go solar, don't get me wrong. We sell a lot of older individuals, but they might be the ones who have a little bit more of the objections. They don't have the belief quite yet than some of the younger people who have researched it. But nonetheless, hey, this is perfect. I like this neighborhood. Great. So after finding a neighborhood, you want to get a good plan of attack. And I'm going to jump over to Google Maps here just because I know Zillow is working pretty slow. But now you have an idea of how to navigate, and you really just kind of have to mess around with it. It's going to be foreign at first, as is the second app that I show you guys. But just roll through it within a day of using it. You'll have no problem. So looking at St. Cloud again here. We'll zoom on in. So here, what I'm going to do is just switch it over to the layers. So it'll actually show me streets. Now, if I were to find a neighborhood that I like, you want to go in with a plan. You don't want to just go into a neighborhood and say, cool, I'm going to just start knocking doors, because quite frankly, it's going to fail every single time. And what I'm going to cover later is just get out of the car. It's very easy to pull up to a neighborhood and decide, okay, yep, I'm here, great. And then you sit on your phone for a half hour and then you're like, wow, I should have been knocking. Instead, just know, hey, as soon as I get there, I park my car, I get out. So when I talk about going in with an approach, obviously this neighborhood is pretty crazy. I mean, there's a ton of different loops. So you want to get a little bit of a map or a direction of where you're going to knock. So what I would do is I would just start right here. I would start at the tip of the neighborhood. I would go knock these 3 houses first. From there, you want to figure out, okay, well, how can I wind in and out of the neighborhood, but end up at my car? The last thing you want to do is be like across the neighborhood and you've hit all the houses and you're like, well, now I got to walk all the way back. But it'll get your steps in, so it's not the end of the world. So you hit these 3, I would start curving down and then around the neighborhood until you hit another cul-de-sac. And then you'd come back and follow the other direction. So you're going to start figuring out, okay, I can hit 50 houses in a row. I can do X amount until, I just need to regroup. That is going to be sooner when you first start knocking. But I mean, I would go 300 houses in a row before stopping a lot of times, which is hours of knocking. But I used to knock 10 hours a day, 6 days a week for 4 months straight. And that was just all I did. So you loop back up, you can hit your car. If at that point you want to kind of just scoot along, you can move down to the second half of the neighborhood and just do the same thing. So just find a good chunk, but go in with a plan. Because otherwise, if you just say, okay, well, if I just hit a couple of houses, then I'll end up back where I need to be. You might go halfway down this street and then curve back. And it's also going to push you, because if that's your end point, there's a finish line. So if you don't have a finish line set, you're just going to turn around at any point. And the goal is volume with doors. So, don't get hung up on every single door. Really, with door knocking, it's finding the low-lying fruit. If there's someone giving you 100 objections and they're just realistically probably not a customer, and you could have knocked 10 more doors and found an appointment if you would have just moved onward. So instead, find the individuals who are interested. So that's where I mentioned earlier, you move fast and talk slow. For me, it was just automatic, just kept on going and going and going. But I mean, right now it's cool out. It's not like it's, and obviously we're getting in the second half or the first half of fall. This is like perfect knocking weather. So for you guys, I'm excited that you guys are starting at this time, because it's not like the scorching dead of the summer. You're out there just sweating like crazy. I mean, it's cool out. It's peaceful. It's really not all that bad once you get into a rhythm. So that'll kind of outline how you need to go about actually, going and maneuvering in the neighborhood. So skipping through some of these, because I did more of the real time on the Zoom or on the Zillow, but I will send you this. So it has literally every single step. Filter to sold. It will show, hey, click on draw. From there, draw a territory, zoom in, figure out the homes. So I'd already kind of touched on this a little bit, but it is absolutely crucial for you to set specifics while knocking doors. You don't want to go out there without a plan, as I've hit on a couple different times. And the best way to do it is setting certain metrics. So before you leave, how long are you going to knock? I'm going to knock for 2 hours today. I'm going to knock for 4 hours. I'm going to go crazy and knock for 5 hours. Awesome. Now, how many houses are you going to hit? If the whole time aspect isn't working out, because sometimes you're an hour and a half in, you got an appointment, you're like, oh, that's good enough today. Go for houses. I'm going to hit 200 houses today. So then, again, okay, I'm 50 in, just keep trudging along. I'm out. And then you're 170 in, you're like, cool, all I need is 30 left. Or how many conversations, how many touches am I going to get with homeowners? I want to talk to 20 people and I want to set 2 of those appointments today. Or, that the most important is how many appointments will you set? I like this one the most, because it's easy to go power through 200 doors and say, cool, I worked today. Well, cool. If you didn't set any appointments, you're not really getting anything from, the work that you put in. Instead, you go, hey, I am going to set 3 appointments today. I don't care how long it takes. Sometimes you'll go set 3 appointments in an hour and you're on a roll and you're like, cool, I'm giving myself another hour. I need another 2. Sometimes it might take 6 hours to get 3. But, again, you're going to get more comfortable knocking doors and it'll be easier. For me, it was, I will not go home until I get, 5 appointments for the day. So sometimes, again, I would go get it in an hour and a half. Sometimes it would take me all day to get it. But it was really just kind of setting those standards and setting those goals ahead of time that, allowed me to just keep pushing forward, keep going for that bigger goal. Do not deviate from your plan. So, and are you guys able to see this?
We see
Anyone?
you right.
Oh, you're just seeing me? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Now you can see it.
Yeah.
There we
Okay,
go.
sweet. So really just reading off them again. How long are you going to knock? How many houses are you hitting? How many conversations? How many appointments? That's pretty much just what I was going over there. But yeah, don't deviate from your plan. It is extremely important to have that plan set in place and just know, okay, this is what I'm going to do until I have success. And as I've mentioned a couple times before, knock fast, talk slow. So quote by Ben Franklin, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. I truly believe in that and have lived by that one. So cool. Any questions so far? All good? Cool. So, and this is, again, I covered a lot of this in the Zoom, but worth mentioning again. Map out your neighborhood, figure out where to park, be strategic with it, find a direction, stick with it. When you have a plan in place, you're going to have a higher likelihood of finishing it. So just kind of an idea. This is another neighborhood that I had picked out. You can see, park here, and you just follow this all the way around. You pretty much hit the whole neighborhood aside from this small bit of houses, which you could hit because you're already close to your house or close to your car. So you'll get a better knack at trying to figure out the whole curve and the whole maze. But like for me, I look at a neighborhood and instantly I know exactly where I'm going, where I'm parking. But I've been on quite a few doors and quite a few neighborhoods. So just keep practicing with it. It sounds very simple. Knocking doors seems very simple, but it's pretty much the top like 1% in the door knocking industry is actually doing well. Most of the others, not the best for success. So, be a part of that 1%. And it really is just practice. It's, honing in your craft, focusing on it. So get out of the car. I talked about it a second ago as well. You just need to jump out of the car as soon as you get there. Can't tell you how many hours and hours and hours, accumulated on Instagram I have, just because I pulled up and I decided, oh, cool, I'm going to just swipe through for like a minute, just get my head right now. And then half hour later, I'm still doing the same thing. So for me, as soon as I pulled up, I parked, I got out. I wouldn't even look at my phone until I was standing outside my car. And then you kind of look like a weirdo. Neighbors are looking at you and you're like, okay, I got to start walking around. I'm not going to be the guy standing here just on my iPad outside my car for 30 minutes on Instagram. So step 2, kind of getting into, the guts of it, the pitch. So this is actually, when you are out, you're knocking doors, you get a home order, answer the door. So there's quite a few different ways and tools that we can approach it. This is, my most basic pitch. Hey, how's it going? I'll be real quick. My name's Lance, just with Blue Raven. I wanted to check in because we're working with some of the homes around here with the net metering program. You guys heard about that or seen it on the last bill? Very open-ended. A lot of people don't know what the net metering program is, but there's a couple of pieces in there that I want to highlight. You're working with other homes. You have a purpose in the neighborhood. So like in pest control, I'd say, hey, I'm sure you've seen our trucks. We're doing a ton of homes today. That's the only reason I'm out here walking around. Because you want to kind of unclassify yourself from all the other door knockers. They've had door knockers, they've had pest guys, alarms, whatever. You're not just one of those other door knockers. You have a purpose of being there. And a lot of it's going to be confidence that you're going to have to, kind of get over time. But, when I'm on the doors, it's my doorstep. When they step out and they talk to me, they just walked into my office and they don't realize it until we start talking, and the confidence kind of portrays that. But yeah, hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm going to be real quick. I'm busy. I was just working with one of the neighbors. I'm sure you've seen some of the trucks in the area, but we're just working on that net metering program. You guys heard about that quite yet? Just direct. Because if you start skirting around with the idea like, hey, how's it going? I'm Lance, I'm just working with some people, they're going to walk all over you. So instead, you need to assert dominance on the door right away. And I've met a lot of really good, door knockers over the years, just being in different industries, and all of them are the same way. They just, as soon as they walk out, they're like, hey, this is my doorstep. And, if they're not open to it, cool, go back in your house. I'm going to go and take my office to the next door. But, going from there, so, hey, have you guys heard about that? Most of them, no, it's the net metering program. Oh, cool. Yeah, it's a program where you can opt out of paying your utility company. I mean, it's only getting more expensive, so you could pay a cheaper solar payment instead. A lot of people are saving money because of all the rate increases. Have you guys ever had the house qualified? And this is a really important question. And this is what I love to do because it gains a lot of interest. And they're like, qualified for what? Like, qualified for the solar program. And they're like, oh, no, we haven't. Well, cool. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to see if it makes sense for you. If it does, it can benefit you a lot. So then, you know, and again, you want to pique their interest. They've had other guys walk up and say, hey, do you want solar? And walk away. And it's like, okay, that doesn't do anything for them. Otherwise, they'd have solar if that was how easy it was. Instead, you need to start piquing interest. You need to get them engaged and involved. So now they're interested. They're thinking to themselves, like, okay, well, does my house qualify? I don't know. I kind of want to find out. Well, cool. To qualify the house, I just need a bill to first see if the project makes sense. Can you go ahead and grab that for me? So that's right in that third line there. So to qualify the house, I just need a bill to first see if it makes sense. So then again, it's more of like it's an exclusive program. It's not like I'm just walking out here for nothing. I'm trying to find the right fit. If everybody could go solar, everybody would have it. And that's something too. It's like, oh, well, why doesn't everybody have solar? Because not everybody can. They've got trees, they've got roof issues, they've got electrical issues. You know, I want to make sure if you can qualify for this, I think it could benefit you and it could help you out a lot. So this first one's a little bit more of a direct approach. You know, it says, can you go ahead and grab that for me? And again, that's just my style. And 90% of the time they'll either go grab it or say, oh, I don't have any bills. Cool, pull it up on your phone for me. That'd be awesome. But sometimes when you're first starting out, you got some of the nerves. What you can do is just go straight for the appointment. You know, hey, we want to make sure that the house qualifies. What I could do is I'm actually going to be out here with some of the homes tomorrow and Tuesday. So we can figure out, you know, then if the project makes sense. So which day works better for you? And you always want a hard close. So you're never going to skirt around with the idea of just, you know, hey, well, do you want to set up an appointment? Naturally, everybody's wanting to say no to door knockers. It's just no one wants to be sold. I always give the example, like I bought a car recently and I've been in sales for quite some time. But overall, there's this guy who came up to me. I was like, shoot him off. Second guy came up to me, shoot him off. I was like, nope, I'm good. And then finally, when I needed someone to help me with pricing and talk about cars, no one was to be found. And I was like, well, shoot, like I totally just threw these guys away and now I actually need someone. It's just, and I realized then I was like, we have a natural inclination to say no to salespeople. We just don't want to be sold. So instead, you need to start directing. You need to be the conductor. So cool, you know, go get me that bill. Pull up your phone, get me the usage, or hey, I'm going to be back here in the next 2 days. Do you want to do Tuesday or Wednesday? And it's always options. It's never, do you want to meet tomorrow? It's going to be a no. Because then now they think, okay, well, I have to make a choice. There needs to be an answer to this. So very powerful to make sure that you give them, you know, hey, do you want to do weekdays, weekends? Do you want to do second half of the week, first half of the week? There's morning, afternoon. There's a million ways to spin it. But yeah, keep suggesting. So another pitch, you know, this is kind of the pitch that Denver runs. Hey, how's it going? I'll be real quick. I'm Lance with Blue Raven Solar. I'm working with a bunch of your neighbors, just following up the net metering program. Have you heard about it or seen it on your bill? Same intro. That's how you really start engaging them, is talking about the net metering program. But here they talk more about, you know, towards the bottom, the tax credit, which is really important. So it just gives you some more ammunition. Again, I wanted to give you a couple different ways of pitching it. Yeah, most people just pay and toss it. Minnesota, utility rates are rising quickly, so most people are just owning their power source. If your roof qualifies, we can install solar panels for no upfront cost. After that, you stop paying the utility company for power, and then you have a low fixed solar payment. Have you heard about the tax credit? The tax credit covers a huge portion of the project, which is why you're seeing all the panels go up. Right now, we're not saying we'll do it, and we're not saying you're going to let us. All I need to do is check if your electricity usage checks out, and then I come back to show you a free bid. I'm going to be here the next few days, so tomorrow or Friday will be better. Now that's a little bit more of an extended pitch. I wanted to add it in here because there's a lot of good nuggets. Again, so right now we're not saying we will do it and you aren't saying you'll let us. I love that. It's something I use quite a bit. My spin on it is like, look, I'm not saying, you know, we can even do the project because we need a survey before we can get out there and verify it. So that's kind of my close, part of my close in the survey. But, you know, a lot of this is just ammunition to spin it in your own ways. Yeah, again, a lot of good stuff in there. My pitch is the one before. Again, this is more of the Denver's pitch. And then if I'm really going a little bit quicker, here's my direct approach. Hey, how's it going? My name's Lance. We're the ones installing all that solar around here. I'm sure you've probably seen the trucks. When's the last time you got the home qualified? Just straight to it. And again, it asserts a lot of confidence too. So people are like, they're kind of on their heels. They're like, what trucks and you're the ones installing the solar? Yeah, that's us. I mean, obviously there's a lot of companies that have installed solar, but hey, we're going to have a massive footprint in that region in no time with Gary and you guys, just firing on all cylinders. So soon it will be the case. I'm sure Gary's talked about Colorado, like it is the case out here. You go look at any neighborhood, a lot of the panels are ours, and very quickly the footprint's going to grow rapidly with you guys too. So again, very direct. How's it going? Name's Lance with Blue Raven. We're just guys installing all that solar. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen some of it going up as well as the trucks. When's the last time you guys had the house qualified? Right there. And then they're usually like, qualified, what are you talking about? And then that's kind of where you explain a little bit of the net metering program. But more of the close here. Hey, a lot of people want to go solar, but some aren't able. I'm going to be around the neighborhood the next few days and I can swing back to see if it makes sense. Would Friday or Saturday be better? So again, just a lot of different pieces that you can kind of formulate your own pitch, make it your own. But once you have it, dial it in, memorize it, do not deviate from it. So everybody's pitch is different. Everybody knocks doors differently. Everybody's going to say things differently on the doors. So, these 3 pitches are all very powerful in their own regard. Figure out what you like about them and then go with one of them. So moving on there, you got to make sure to hard close. I touched on this a little bit too, but it's good to have in the recording. So you're not asking if they want to meet, you suggest a time to meet. So do you want to do this day or that day? Do you want to do the weekend or do you want to do the weekdays? Would beginning or the end of the week work better? Do you prefer mornings or afternoons? I can't tell you how many times I've been told no at the door, and it's extremely powerful to be persistent. If I would have went with the no that I've heard at the door every single time, I wouldn't be in sales. I wouldn't have made any money. And yeah, it would have been a brutal career for me. Instead, there's people who I've installed with solar. They told me no at the door 4 times and I just kept spinning it off. Hey, do you want to Tuesday or Wednesday? No, we're just not interested. Cool. Why? Oh, well, I just don't know about the whole incentive thing. Explain the incentive. So yeah, now that, we kind of went over the incentive, do you want to do this weekend or do you want to do early next week? Oh no, I got to talk it over with my wife. Oh, cool. Well then how about, instead we do morning or afternoon on Monday. So it gives you time over the weekend to talk it over with her. If you guys don't want to meet, I don't want to waste your time. You call me back and hey, I can take you out the calendar. Okay, well, yeah, I just don't know my schedule yet. Okay, well, cool. People are normally more available in the morning. So I'll set you down at 8 a.m. morning. And then if we need to change that, we totally can. No problem. Talk it over with your wife, check your calendar. I'll be here at 8 a.m. Oh, all right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Put it in your calendar for me. Yeah. I look forward to seeing you next week. You just blow through the objections. Objections are nothing to me. And that's pretty much like right in line with some conversations I've had with people who are now installed with our solar. They met with us and they've even said, like, I'm glad you pushed and made us meet. Like, this is going to save us a ton of money. It's like, hey, if it was as easy as sitting down with everybody to have solar, it's kind of on us to make sure that you guys understand why it's a good approach and why it's a good opportunity for you guys. So yeah, it'll get them on the train of yeses too. So instantly, if they need to say yes to an appointment time, or, if you just say, do you want to meet next week? They're going to say, no, I got to check the calendar. Instead it's like, hey, do you want to meet this week or next week? And they're going to say yes to one of them. And great. Now they're rolling. Cool. Give me your bill. Yes. Okay, awesome. And then once you sit down, they're already feeling good about solar. The train of yeses is something I think is extremely powerful in sales. I absolutely put my pitch in a manner where I'm just getting them to say yes to, like, even if it's stupid questions, I'm getting yeses out there. So then once the bigger questions that need answers are, being thrown out, they're already saying yes. So tips and pointers: practice. This is not something that's going to come overnight. It's going to be very hard, quite frankly, but that's okay. It's going to get you guys some thick skin. It's going to get you a ton of experience. It really is going to help you dial in a lot of the objections. You can go out and knock doors a couple sessions and, that'll equate, just knocking doors and, for 1 week is probably like 20 appointments worth of material covered, because, you can go out and you can hear the tax credit objection. You can go hear, that I need to talk to my wife objection, or, hey, I just don't think it works out. I don't think we'd qualify. You're going to hear that 20 different times in a day rather than in 20 different appointments. So going out there, it's going to hands down progress you guys into better salespeople at a far quicker rate. So get in front of the mirror. I always laugh when I do some of these, these self-gen trainings. Anytime and I have spent hours and probably days in front of a mirror, just with all the different pitches I've learned and all the different products and industries. So I was like, when I did windows, when I first got into sales, I spent like 2 hours a day just pitching myself, because we had this big test at the end where I had to have everything dialed in. If I so much as even hiccuped in my pitch, they'd fail me. So it was intense, and I made sure I knew my material. But from there, I realized a lot of it's facial gestures. It's my hands. I'm sure you guys have seen by now, I'm super animated. Even in appointments, I mean, I knock over my water bottle, I knock over my iPad all the time, and people are like, what is this guy doing? But it's just something I learned with, and people like animation. So it's something I learned in the mirror. Just even saying like, you've never heard of the tax credit, versus like, oh, you've never heard of the tax credit. Just me dropping my eyebrows, like, because now they're like, wait, okay, so what is this tax credit? Like, why are you so surprised that I've never heard of it? Like, I want to hear about it. It engages them. And it's something that's super simple, but naturally people aren't as animated as salespeople are. So, if this is your first time in sales, definitely work on it. It's something that'll come with a little bit of practice. Persistence is key. They won't say yes all the time, and that's okay. So if they don't say yes, keep pushing. Got to push back through some of those objections, but pick and choose who you want to work with. Again, going back to a previous statement, we are going for the low-lying fruit. We're not going to go out and try to sell the guy who has 50 objections, and you basically have to do the whole pitch on the door before he tells them, well, oh, cool, now you gave me all the information, we don't need to meet. Like, that's the biggest punch to the face. And I've had it happen. Sit there with 30 minutes on the door with this guy. I was like, I'll show you a design. He's like, no, I know all about it now, but I need to see a design. Nope, now I know about the tax credit. Nope, we're good. Instead, leave little bits out. Say, hey, I can cover some of it today. I'm busy though. I've got an appointment down the street. So, hey, I got to head. Let's set something up. I'll come back tomorrow. Don't let the nose get to you. You're a robot. When I was doing the 10 hours a day, and I was living down in Texas at the time, knocking in like 110 degrees, 100% humidity in Houston. It was like the most brutal of the brutal it gets. And I legitimately like turned into a robot. For 4 months, I had nothing but just like move forward, just one foot in front of the other, just go knock doors. And I mean, you're going to make a ton of money doing so. Again, you guys are in a better situation. It's not too hot out there. It's getting into the fall, and it's a great market. I was selling pest control door to door. This is a product where you can truthfully tell someone on their door, like, this is meant to benefit you. Let me help you. Don't you do yourself a disservice and not even look at this. I mean, it's literally going to be 30, 40 minutes of your time, and it could save you thousands and thousands of dollars and get you a tax credit of a pretty hefty amount. Power of the 6-pack. I'm not talking about beer for any of the drinkers in the room. This is more in relation to just at least 6 doors, any appointment. And this is like a bare minimum. This is like if you jump out of an appointment and it's a no-show, at least knock 6 doors, get back in your car. But realistically, for you guys who are just starting out, this is more for reps who have been here. It's reminding them, hey, go knock doors. For you guys, do a 20-pack. I mean, go out there. You're going to go rip a whole, street or whatever after a no-show that you might get from an appointment. And this is aside from just setting or going actually knocking doors. When you go knock doors, go for like hundreds of doors. You want to go out there for an extended period of time, set your calendar for the week. Instead, once you start getting leads in, if you're like, okay, cool, I got 20 minutes before my next appointment, go hit a 6-pack. Because I mean, it'll take you 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and you're going to land FDs out of it easily. So, if you, and also it's powerful if you have a book or an install, you could say, hey, we just signed up, Margaret down the street. We were just wanting to check in with some of the other folks, see if you guys heard about the net metering program too. Oh, no, you haven't? Cool. Well, she loved it. Her utility bill just kept going up. Everybody's been talking about it. So instead, we got her on a solar program. It's going to not only make her utility payment now a solar payment that's fixed, but it's cheaper. I mean, it's really just meant to benefit you guys. So let me get out here tomorrow. I got another appointment down the street. I'll meet with you guys too. What days or what time's best? You want to do 2 or do you want to do a little bit later? I mean, it'll easily lead to another 1 to 2 FTCs a month, just knocking the 6-pack. But I mean, it can lead to another 5 FTCs a month if you actually go out and knock extended points or periods of time. So Last and certainly not least, we got some of the pitch down. We got some ideas on the pitch. I want to go over the follow-ups and tracking. So here is it's another app. It's called Sales Rabbit. So it's free. You just sign up with an email. It's going to allow you to actually go and pinpoint certain neighborhoods and click in the leads like, hey, this was a no, this is a yes, this is a warm lead, this is a follow-up, etc. So it's going to be super helpful to track appointments, especially the no's too. Like you've had a ton of success in an install neighborhood, and you're like, okay, cool, I want to go knock there, but I don't even know who said no anymore. Like I knocked there on a Saturday, I talked to maybe half the people. I don't want to go bug the people I already met or already talked to. Now there's low-lying fruit. You guys installed, they could see the panels. Like you're gonna get another FDC out of any install neighborhood you go knock. So instead, you go and track it accordingly. You know, okay, cool, I got another Saturday that's free. I'm gonna go follow up, get the other half. And a lot of it's on days too. Something I hadn't put in here. You want to make sure you're knocking in prime time slots. So during the second half of the day is very, very, very important because people are home. And weekends. Weekends, everyone's home. On Saturdays, you could knock Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and get, one appointment a day. Then you go knock a Saturday, you can get 3 in 30 minutes because everybody's answering, everybody's in a good mood. They're excited to hear about it. And you can kind of take some pointers too. If it's during the day, not cars. Don't waste your time too much with people who aren't home, or just look for signs of light. Usually if someone's at home, blinds are open, right? So, if it's garage doors closed, blinds are closed, there's a high likelihood they're not home. So if you do go out at 10 a.m., a lot of people are maybe grocery shopping, they're at work, whatever it may be, go slam as many cars as you can. And if you have some success in that neighborhood, make sure you're logging it correctly. So then at night, you can come back and hit the ones that you haven't hit. And you can kind of clean everything up. Yeah, get very familiar with this app. This is going to be either this what gives you instant success or just completely crushes the ability to go back into a neighborhood you might have had success in. So we want to make sure we're logging everything, accordingly. It'll help you remind with, who you can follow up with. So cool. I'm not going to be able to share my screen because I have the app on my phone. So this is the home screen here. You simply click on the sales hub and then it pulls up a map. This is where I live in Colorado, so it's just pulled up on my pin. But if you press the little pin thing here, it will actually come up and pull up this drop-down menu at the bottom on the left-hand picture. So you could choose an option and it's all out. It's already all there. Lead, follow-up, appointment. You can scoot over. There's custom options, etc. And you could even put like installs. Just every color is a little bit different. But then you could place it on the map just by clicking it and putting it on the home. So now you have, and of course, if it was fully filled out, you'd have a bunch of no's, bunch of yeses, bunch of follow-ups. So then let's say you came and sold me at my house. Great, awesome. Now I know my install is there, but then you're like, oh, well, shoot, who wasn't interested and who was? You simply go back on here and say, cool, well, now I can follow up with these guys who, they didn't answer, whatever it may be. Say, hey, I installed Lance literally right across the street. You can see his panels. We're working with a lot of the homes. We're doing the whole net metering program. You guys heard about it? Just move right into the pitch. So yeah, what you can also do is once you click on the actual pin, you can write in notes, which is huge. So like a follow-up, you can see like, oh, cool. And, it might be like follow up in March, follow up in, a week. Husband was super interested. Wife was coming home later that day, follow up later in the afternoon when both are home. So the notes section, super, super helpful as well. Cool. So that pretty much wraps up most of what I was wanting to talk with you guys about. So again, there's a lot in there. What I'm going to do is I'm glad Gary had the idea of recording this. So I'm going to have this sent to him. He'll be able to get it to you guys as well. Just watch this a couple times, especially just with how I was talking with the pitch and, some of the ways that I skirted around objections, and most importantly, really dial in Zillow as well as Sales Rabbit. Those are going to be your two most useful tools. And if you utilize them correctly, you guys will hands down have success. You'll be able to log all your neighborhoods. Where to go back to. Okay, great. This install neighborhood has some hidden gems that I can go and hit and easily turn into FDCs. And Zillow is going to help you kind of in the forefront or the more of like the pre-analysis of the neighborhood, making sure, okay, cool, this is a spot that I want to be. Because once you get in a neighborhood, you want to stick with it. You don't want to be the guy that's like, okay, well, great, I've been in here for 3 houses, I don't like it. I got one guy who was a little bit, snarky or angry. Nope, just keep powering through. There's at least 5 FDCs in every single neighborhood, and that's like a bare minimum. Those are 5 that you can get today, because in the next year there will be 5 more homes with installs. And obviously in 2-3 years there's going to be 20-30 homes. So go pick that low-lying fruit while it's there. So cool, guys. Again, wrapping up everything there. I think that covers just about everything I wanted to touch on. I'm excited for you guys. I really am. I'm happy I was able to jump on here. I'm planning on getting out to the office here in the next couple of weeks as well. So I'd love to meet you guys in person.
Thank you. That'd be great. Thanks for your time, man.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Lance. Great
All
value.
right, guys. Well, I will be logging off. We will see you on the other side.
All right, see ya.
All right, see you, Gary.